Hey everybody, thanks for clicking on Liz the One TV. I'm your girl Liz the One. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for your girl. So, I've been away for a little bit. I got sick, it was like a little sinus infection, and then I had a family member pass, so it's been a lot. But I'm back to gossip like a diva around this subject, right? So we all know that Chrissy Lampkin and Jim Jones have been together since the beginning of time. If you don't know who they are, you know Jim Jones. He was he's still a rapper. But back in the day, he had some hits out like Ballin', and then with the Diplomats. Anyway, also Chrissy Lampkin, she was on Love and Hip Hop New York with Jim Jones, and there's some of the original cast members, and Jim Jones' mama was on there too. And I'm bringing up the mama. We're gonna get into some issues. So I know you all seen the title of the video. Chrissy and Jim Jones have been together for a really long time. So when they had came onto the show, they were together for at least 6 years. Well, it'd been a while. So in the beginning, Chrissy wanted to get married, and she had been with him for a while, and she felt like it wasn't going as fast as she wanted it to go. And we'll get into this 6 years. We'll get into this in a minute. Ladies, we got to talk. Sometimes you can give a man too much leeway. So if you want to get married and, you're sticking around for 6 years, but I'm jumping ahead of myself. This is not like a bashing video. Everybody relax. But let's talk about this. Okay, so they had been together for at least 6 years. So she felt like things weren't progressing the way she wanted them to, at least by the episode that she proposed to him. So she went out looking for engagement rings, and she dropped down on one knee. She, gave the whole beautiful speech, I want to be with you. And, she proposed to him, and he said, instead of saying yes, he said, I'm with you. Okay. He said, I'm with you. And in her confessional, she said that, something to the effect of, girls are out here waiting. I plan on getting everything that I want in life. And she said something like, keep waiting. Well, they didn't get married. They stayed together for quite some time. They even left Love and Hip Hop for a while. They went on marriage boot camp, vow or never, all kinds of stuff. It wasn't until she left him and went to, I believe it was Miami, that he came following after her. And when he followed after her, that's when he proposed. But shockingly, they still never got married. So if you guys watched Love and Hip Hop and kind of followed the behind the scenes news from it back then, you would know that they were interviewed time and time again about children and marriage. And they wanted a lot of kids together because she was still within her fertility window. So fast forward, she's 48 years old now. And because she's coming back to Love and Hip Hop New York with Jim Jones and probably his mama, she goes onto the reel, and they ask, are you, something to the effect of are you guys ever going to get married? And her response was, marriage is not a priority because we're in a good spot. So this kind of rubs some people the wrong way and confused people with the sad, confused dog head tilt, especially me. Wait, you've been with this man all this time. The amount of time you've been together has been long enough for a marriage. Now, I know that some people are going to be like, marriage is not for everybody. It's really not for everybody, but she wanted marriage all these years. And I believe that at this point, she's just it's not going to happen, then it's just not going to happen. I don't even think that he manipulated her because she seems pretty headstrong. I think that she's just kind of settled and accepted the fact that this is just not going to happen. Now, I don't believe that Jim Jones is broke. I know that they had a house foreclosed on recently, but I think that, I don't think that it had anything to do with them being broke. I think it had something to do with they just really didn't want the property anymore. But my thing is this. Marriage is not for everybody. Let me just say that again. However, it's what she wanted since the beginning of Love and Hip Hop New York. So I can't agree or sit back and believe that she's happy right now and in a good spot just because, you know, maybe she's gotten comfortable with the issue because it's been damn near 15 years. I just want to say this to the ladies. Don't let a man string you on this long, because I know, you know, women, and some from when I was little kids that'll sit around and wait on men and have all these kids for these men, and these men will leave and then they will marry somebody else. And these women will sit back heartbroken thinking that, you know, that these men were supposed to marry them, and then they grow bitter. My thing is this: if a man wants to marry you, he knows really within 6 months. Hell, it don't even take them 6 months. You know, they drop little clues, and, you know, they'll go around in the background, you know, trying to get together rings and stuff like that, trying to set the stage for when they want to propose to you. Don't let anybody string you on for an extended period of time. I want to say, if you're in your 30s, don't let a man string you on for over a year. If you're in your 20s, you know, you could be like 2 years, possibly 3 at the most, but I wouldn't even allow it that long. But if he wants to marry you, he will tell you. And I know that people say that marriage is just a piece of paper, but if it was just a piece of paper and it didn't mean that much to him, he would have just signed it. You see what I'm saying? But marriage is more than a piece of paper. It is a combination of assets, and you have to look at it like, okay, maybe he doesn't want to combine assets with her. So, maybe he doesn't want to combine, I keep saying combine assets with her, in the sense that, he thinks that she would be taking something from her. Now, I know you hear like comedians say that, you know, men will wait till it's damn near time to die, some black dudes, to marry you. And in some cases that's true, because if you're letting him string you along, then he's going to just sit there and do it because you're allowing it. Now, I know you can't force a man to really do anything that he doesn't want to do, but here's the thing: you have options. And I know that the options kind of suck. Throw away your relationship or move on. Well, here's the thing: if you love yourself, you can move on to bigger and better things. Now, Chrissy seems very smart, but I think that she just seems to be a sucker for love for this guy, Jim Jones. And before I go any further, let me just give this little 20 to 30 second commercial. I'm saying a lot. I gotta fix that today because I'm just getting back into the swing of doing videos. So 20 to 30 second I'm saying again 20 to 30 second little commercial. Okay, so I sold Avon for quite some time, and they make really good Christmas gifts. I got things from Frozen for the kids to adult stuff like this OG right here. Skin So Soft, some of people's favorites. And if Skin So Soft is too expensive for you, then I've even got like $2 hand lotion stocking stuffers. I've got stuff cheaper than that. So make sure you go over to www.youravon.com/LizTheOne and go shopping. I've got great deals for yourself, for the kids. Just go over, check out the store. I'm going to put the link in the description box. Once again, it's www.youravon.com/LizTheOne. It's still not too late. You know, when it ships, it comes pretty fast, and you'll have everything in time for Christmas. Inexpensive gifts for your family that you can't really get into the store. You can get it at www.youravon.com/LizTheOne. Link in the description box. Okay, let's move forward. So this brings me to like my next point. The mom. I believe that his mom might be compensating for the fact that she may have had an addiction when he was younger. He stated in a few videos that he used to go looking for his mom and crack houses and stuff like that. And she just seems to meddle a lot. Notice that when an older woman covets her son like that, and kind of makes him her emotional husband, is for resources. So you got to think about it. If she had an addiction all these years, or when he was younger, that means that she didn't work very much. It means that she doesn't have her own income. And let's be realistic. You get out of Social Security what you pay into it, like whatever you work. And that means that she didn't really work that much and she didn't contribute to it. Don't let anybody fool you. Everybody's not getting $1,200 to $2,000 checks from Social Security, because you can't get very much from Social Security. Everybody's still not getting that amount, though. Some people are getting $10 to $13 checks because they thought that it was cute to sit on their behinds all these years and not work and invest into the system, sort of, right? Even though that shouldn't just be your retirement plan. You should have like a good 401k, a pension, some savings, an IRA. So you should go look into that. And if you get an IRA, you got to make sure you get a Roth. So let's keep going. I believe that she sort of made her son her emotional husband. And this is just my opinion, to where like you can see like she try to controls everything, like he's still a little boy, to try to make up for, and it sounds kind of contradictory, but she's trying to control his life right now, still to this day. And I think that Chrissy sort of just accepted it. I think that you should avoid these type of men like the plague, to where their moms come in and they want to control everything. And, I think that you should just straight up let it go, point blank, period. But back to what I was saying earlier about marriage not just being a piece of paper, it's a combination of assets. You have to understand that if you have kids with a man and you're married, he wouldn't be able to just get ghost on you if he wanted to leave. He would have to go through somewhere like the courts to say that he was going to take care of his kids, okay? Let's say if that man wanted to leave you at the height of you having a baby, he wouldn't be able to, well, he could leave, but he will be obligated to at least, keep you on health insurance to make sure, you get healthy before he got to go off willy-nilly. And not just that, if something ever happened to that man, because we all know how families get when people pass away. If something ever happened to that man, you would be his beneficiary and his children will automatically be taken care of. I have seen this before. I have seen it to where the man will pass away and he intended to leave certain family members, like his kids and his grandkids, something else. Some things, but let's say he's not, he was never married to the woman. Well, his mother, say if his mother's still living, it's technically still sort of his power of attorney, right? If the kids are not of age. And the family, they get these assets and they just say, forget everybody else. And they go spending. People are pretty honorable until money gets involved, okay? Let's say that, he passes and he has some assets. Let's say if you can't work, it will help sustain you in the meantime, in between time, and vice versa. And vice versa. Don't think that it's just women that would be benefiting from it. It's men, because I hate to say this, but Black women make more than Black men right now. So it will be in their best interest to go forward with the marriage too. So don't let anybody fool you like it's not worth it. It is worth it. And it's worth it for, like, if you want children. To me, it just comes across as Jim Jones. He's finally got his mom back. And he doesn't want to upset anybody. So instead of taking a stance, even though I think that his mother would go with any decision that he made, instead of taking a stance, he's stringing her along. And this is what I meant about women who sort of covet their sons, who kind of made their sons their emotional husbands. It's resources. Like I said, if she had an addiction, she probably couldn't work those years. So she's coveting her sons or what her son. But what about women who just get too close to their sons in a creepy way? Like, look at Ray J and his mom. Like, the boy can't even, well, I'm going to call him a boy because he's not acting like a man. He can't even have his marriage in peace because his mom is just right there meddling. Like, you know, some women go too far with trying to control their son's penis. It's just really weird and it's creepy and it's just weird. Okay. So like I said, a man taking care of his mom is a beautiful thing, but when it becomes creepy and you're dating and you notice this, I think you should just run. I know some women don't really want to leave certain men because they feel like, oh, well, I've invested all of this time. Well, if you had a bad stock, would you keep investing in it? You know, if your car kept breaking down every week and you had to keep paying into it, would you keep or would you just cut your losses and go get a new one? Would you throw money into a bottomless pit? At some point, or let me finish. Would you throw money into a bottomless pit and expect a return on your money? At some point, you got to put yourself first, and you have to just really cut your losses and start from scratch. I mean, prime example, Cassie. Cassie was with Diddy for how long? And he did her how dirty? And she left. And now she's got a baby. She's got a husband. As opposed to, I hate to say this, Kim Porter, who was with Diddy all those years. She's had all those babies for him. And he did her so dirty. Leaving her to be with Jennifer Lopez, then going back to her, and then cheating on her, getting another woman pregnant. Just really embarrassing her. And, you know, the reason that she had somewhat of a lifestyle is because she had kids with him. But, I mean, really, everything that she invested. And then when she dies, he goes on social media, proclaiming that they had like the greatest love. Well, how? You didn't make an honest woman of her. You really embarrassed this woman in front of the whole world, and now you're on social media crying about what you lost. You have to understand that with some of these men, especially the diplomats, like that group, that rap group, even though they had really good music back in the day, you got to understand, like, it's a pattern with them. You got to look at how Cameron did Juju. You got to look at how Joel Santana did Kimbella, and they just got married, and they got married because his ass was going to jail. Like, you got to think about this stuff. And then you've got Chrissy and Jim Jones, and he's stringing this woman along all these years. And I know now in her brain, she's saying that she doesn't want to get married, but that's got to kind of hurt, all these years, all this embarrassment, and you're still with this man and nothing. So I'm wondering if maybe after all this time, they'll just get married for a check on the show. But we'll see. They seem to be with each other and kind of committed to each other. But, if you want kids, don't let a man play the waiting game with you. Don't beg him. After a certain period of time, if he's not bringing it up and he knows that it's something that you want, like I said, don't throw money into a bottomless pit expecting a return. Cut your losses and go ahead. Really, that's all I gotta say. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you go to www.youravon.com/LizTheOne. That's pretty much it. I will see y'all on the next video, which will probably be funnier. I'm gonna try to catch up on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, at least the last episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, so that way I can review going forward. But I got a couple of more videos to crank out. Peace.